Does it seem
All right,
especially
fools.
hazy here in the sky town of Basel to anyone else?
Yeah, it's a little hazy. You're not wrong about that. Oh, apparently I'm doing an encounter.
Until I lived in Southern California, I didn't know that haze was a weather condition. I thought it was just a Pokemon move I never used.
I'm glad that this has happened because I don't remember how to play this game.
Would you need to know how to play this game for what we have on the docket today?
Maybe not. Maybe not, actually.
That was sort of an invitation for you to expound on that, but sure.
So, what we're doing today, folks, fellow humans, or not, maybe robots, YouTube scrubbing bots.
Some people may be like furries or scalies or extraterrestrials, you don't know.
Yeah. What we're doing today is doing the arena. We're gonna do a little bit of grinding here at the arena for an episode, and then we'll resume after this episode with your regularly scheduled programming, as it
Here's
were.
a brief look into what my life has become. When you said we're gonna do the arena, I had the thought like, oh, I wish I had an air horn. Wait, I have an air horn. So I was like, gonna make the air horn noise. Then I stopped and realized I have my stream deck and I can push the button on it. Except it doesn't do anything here because it's just not set up that way. So like all of that happened while you were talking. Just like all of that went through my head. I was just like, your ear.
I gotcha. The professor is crunching, by the way, loudly. Is she crunching?
But is she
Professor,
there?
you're not here. Stop crunching.
You do realize that the way the professor works, she's gonna like crunch louder, right?
Yeah, I know she's gonna crunch louder. It's true. Okay. Let's do the arena.
Hey, check it out.
Should
The
wait.
coins that you win have little like wagon wheel designs on them that were completely like
Oh, yeah, look at
unintelligible
that.
before.
Should I change around the setup here or no?
I think we had done it recently enough that we're probably fine for a little while. Could be mistaken.
Leanne
look at-
Zephyr is real low, and Leanne is it's a
Yeah,
little
back
weird.
out and take a look at the weapon levels, because Zephyr's like...
I guess he's
2
handgun.
levels
Well,
lower
she also
than-
has the grenade levels, which is like the main thing.
Well, so does Vacheron, though. So we clearly need to give grenades to Zephyr.
That's easy enough to
And we need to give
grenades
him back
and
the machine gun.
gun.
Yeah, I think that's what
I
we need to
guess.
do.
We could do that. Seems fine. Assuming he
I have-
could physically hold those, but I don't think that'll be a problem.
Yeah. No, he's got it.
I feel like whoever designed this game should really give
No,
like seminars to just explain everything. Like, I'm just so fascinated by so many of the decisions that went into this game. Like, where did the weight system come from? Like, it's not completely non-standard for an RPG, but like, how is it that that seemed like an element that needed to go on top of everything else? Like, how did that decision come about?
So
Oh,
I'm
you
going to
can
suggest that we
select-
don't give the grenades to the person that has a scratch damage gun, because that just doesn't seem like it's...
It does seem
Seems
a
like you're
little
working against
counterproductive at
yourself.
this time.
What? Why? He just needs
Because
levels.
then...
It's fine.
mean,
I guess we
honestly think
don't
it's fine
actually...
either way.
I guess we don't
Um,
actually use the grenades to any effect, so...
Yeah.
Square. There you go.
I mean, I think largely the argument that Cotillion is having is sort of like, we use the grenades largely
No,
to finish
Tech.
people off.
Tech,
What?
I think you want...
What?
I think you want him on top.
Oh yeah,
Go
you're right.
first.
Thank you. I was just imagining in the middle of the.
So,
Yeah,
so,
and-
so Tech
yeah.
likes Zephyr on top, you're saying. Would you say that that arrangement works well in the dark?
Save it, why don't you?
Well,
Let's do
basically,
this
like,
thing.
I think I get what you're saying, Cotillion, of like, because we're like finishing off people generally who are already heavily scratched with the grenades, like it feels like someone else should have them, but I think this is probably also fine for these purposes. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Also,
And it's
Tech
not
has
like
always
we-
had a philosophy of like, it's fine, I'm doing the thing anyway. So, regardless of the argument, I presume this would occur.
It's not like we're strategically using grenades or anything, so...
Yeah.
What,
I
what'd
wish,
you
I
do
wish
there?
grenades
Oh.
were like a little easier to come by. I mean, like, I kind of just generally wish that like the grenade box and the item box have always felt weird to me.
Yeah.
Good
I
job.
agree.
Like, it's such a weird way to like limit that interaction that doesn't feel like it really adds anything to the game. I mean, it adds a hurdle, which I think was their intention, but like, does that make the gameplay more compelling? I don't feel like it does.
I mean, I guess it's like, you know, it seems it's another option, right? Like, it gives you another thing to do.
Well, I mean, I guess what I'm saying is, like, the counter argument would be, like, instead of, like, having them be items that have to be equipped for someone to use them, like, why not just have, like, an item menu, like a normal game? And, like, maybe you have to, like, supply the items and grenades and like, extra ammo types to individual characters, and they can't just draw from the same pool. But, like, that feels better to me than making it so, like, alright, this is the only person who can have grenades at all right now.
Yeah. I don't know, it's kind of weird design.
That's this game, though. This game is just a bunch of weird decisions.
That's sort of where I started, though, right? Is, like, I'm just so fascinated by these decisions that I would love to know why, like, everything happened the way it did.
It's a great point. I would also love to know why everything happened the way it did. I mean, it's like, it's one of those things where, like, you would just love to, like, have been in the room when people were coming up with this shit. Like,
yes, yeah, exactly.
Just to see exactly how much acid they were tripping on.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Or like which specific hallucinogenic was involved. You know.
All right, do I keep doing this one or do I proceed to this one?
I just max them out. That's what I do. That's what I do.
All right. Should I keep using grenades, or should I... I mean, it's not doing a lot of damage, so...
I feel like your primary should still be the machine gun. I mean, I feel like generally it's more beneficial, especially because of how limited grenades are, to, like, fill up, like, a moderately high-level enemy in some mission that we're doing, and then just have them finish them off with grenades and build levels that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I think hitting these guys with grenades just isn't doing enough damage to level them up quickly.
Yeah.
Maybe when you get farther into the arena.
Yeah, probably at some point the ratio becomes more favorable. This guy's a brownie, by the way.
Oh, he is a
he
brownie.
your favorite enemy in the game, Tech?
Oh man, yes. I will eat him.
What are your feelings on blondies?
I am strongly against them, and the inventor should die.
Those are strong feelings. Do you have similarly strong feelings, Cotillion?
I don't even really know what they are.
What?
I don't know exactly how I would describe them. I was trying to think of this after asking, because I wasn't entirely sure.
They're white chocolate brownies, aren't they?
Are they white chocolate? I thought they were supposed to be more like either like angel food cake or even like maybe like cookie dough, sort of.
No, I'm like 80% sure they're just white chocolate brownies.
I'm like 80% sure that's wrong. I don't
playing
know
the game
exactly
here, so
what it is.
One of you guys could suddenly know, and then we would have the answer.
Keep it up.
Is that possible? Could one of us know a thing? That doesn't sound like it's on brand for us.
I mean, I can't know a thing, that's for sure.
No, you just can't remember a thing.
There was something...
Oh, right, sorry.
In a recent Kingdom Hearts, there was definitely a time when I was just sort of like, why don't you just look it up? And you're like, sure. And then you, like, forgot that. And then you wanted to play the game. You, like, wanted to try the thing we were doing. And then, like, the second you got the controller, you're like, hey, you should look that up. It was like, what? You could have... Why did you... Oh.
That's how I do it. That's how I do.
I mean, that's how you get out of inventory management, that's for sure.
Well, that's my specialty, isn't it?
Yeah, okay. I think I'm technically slightly closer here. A small square of dense, pale-colored cake, typically of a butterscotch or vanilla flavor.
Oh, alright, I'm way off. Never mind, I have no opinion on blondies then.
Okay. I mean, the thing is, I think it's mostly just, like, cake shaped and delivered in the familiar form of brownie. So, like, I'm actually generally pro them, because I like cake. But I also feel like I've had ones that are, like, a cookie brownie. And I'm, like, super down for that.
A cookie brownie, what does that mean?
Isn't that just a brownie?
No. No. Like a... Exactly the same thing I just described, but it's made of cookie material. Like a cookie brownie.
Like it's shaped like a brownie, but is a cookie?
Chocolate and shit. Yeah.
Huh.
And I'm sure I've already talked about the brookie, which is just the tops. It's the best one.
Yeah.
Because it's literally a brownie with like a cookie on top. I don't know why you need anything else in your life at that point.
It's a fair point. I want a brookie now.
Obviously you do.
I did make
'Cause,
gingerbread
like-
cookies the other day, and I've been eating them, which is great.
Oh, I love gingerbread.
Me too. Wait, Cotillion, important question.
Uh-huh.
Someone offers you a gingerbread cookie, right? And you go
That's
to bite
not a
into
question.
it.
That's not a question.
And you go to bite into it. Do you expect crunch or chewy?
You know, I try not to have those expectations because I like either. But a crunch would be... Well, I want to say a crunch would be more of a ginger snap.
A snap, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think we're on the same page here. Now, the problem with the way that question is phrased is like, I might still expect a crunch because I feel like a lot of people somehow don't understand that distinction.
All right.
But like,
Do you
if someone
hope for
offered me
it?
a
It should be-
gingerbread
I should-
cookie, I would hope that it would not be crispy.
Yeah. All right. I'm
I mean,
glad that
I'm
we're
gonna eat
on the
it no
same
matter
page
what.
here. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
there's no question there. I'm just saying, like
Unless I will say that I have had just like some abysmal gingerbread cookies before. Like ones that were bad enough that I was like, I would genuinely rather not finish eating this.
When I used to work at Starbucks, and Starbucks used to have gingerbread men during the Christmas season.
Yeah, but then it was
And,
ruled misogynist. Go on.
Exactly. And I would always eat them in a particular way. I'd always
Balls
break
first?
the arms off. Yes, how do you know? I'd always break the arms off first and eat those, and then I'd break the legs off.
yeah.
And I'd break the
Torso
head
man.
off, but I'd eat the torso first. Or
Oh,
save the
so you
head
go.
for last.
Oh, okay. So you
I feel like the two main ways are what you've described, or head first and then just down the body, right? I feel
Yeah.
like those are the two predominant fashions. My preferred method is to lay it out on like a bed of some sort, and then activate like a laser beam and aim it at the crotch of the gingerbread man, and be like,
yeah.
"No, Mr. Bread, I expect you to die."
Yeah, the
That's
Goldfinger. Yeah,
that's how
that's
I-
a good one. That's a
Yeah,
good one.
I don't know
These-
if like Reese's there is no wrong way to eat a gingerbread man. I'm not sure about this.
I think no. Well, so in my opinion, and I have weird opinions, dipping a gingerbread man in something is a wrong way to eat a gingerbread man.
What if it was a vat of acid because I'm still playing a Bond villain in this scenario?
I
then
mean,
you're
you
not
could,
eating.
but that's definitely the wrong way because
Wait,
then you wouldn't
wait.
be able to eat it.
No, what is this weird assumption you guys are making that I'm not eating the acid dip cookie? Or where is
I mean,
that
it might-
coming from?
It might kill you.
Or at the very least,
Why? Wait, no.
Destroy
Why would
your
it do
teeth.
that? I'm not sure where you guys are coming. Could you explain what you're talking about?
you know,
I did it.
If you don't understand, we can't help you understand.
Yeah. If you're not there already, I don't think you're ever gonna get there. Sorry, friend.
It kind of feels like a cop out.
You have to ask how much it is you can't afford it.
See, that one I understand. I feel like that one, it's like the same concept, but I feel like that one applies differently, because it's like, if you have to have any consideration for the amount of money you're spending, you can't have this gold-plated yacht. You just can't do it.
Wait, I can't have the gold-plated yacht?
Not if the thing I said earlier. No.
But I wanted it. Maybe it's a boat.
Yeah, I mean,
It might be.
It
might
is
be
a boat. In this case, there's actually no uncertainty. It is a boat. We're talking about buying a boat. We understand this, right?
No, you said yacht.
You did say yacht.
mean-
Could be a boat.
Yeah, but
I don't know if that's a boat or not.
what else would it be?
It's a yacht. You said it's a yacht. I don't know. That might not be a boat.
So
definitely
you're
a yacht,
telling me the
but whether or
discussion
not
we're
it's a boat,
having
I don't
now
know.
is your level of vocabulary is the uncertainty? Is that the idea? I just want to clarify.
You guys, I don't remember things. That includes words, okay?
That kind of reminds me of an interesting subject that I feel like is not discussed all that often, other than like in movies and shit. But like, it's fascinating to me that there is like a type of amnesia where like you remember like all the shit you need to do to like function as a human being, but you don't remember like personal details. And I get that the brain would like store that differently, but it feels like trauma that's like sufficient to like wipe out, like, all recollection of who you are would have some impact on that, right? Like, you'd forget what the word yacht was. It's so weird to me.
So, to be clear, the, like, television's version of amnesia, like, isn't really the common or, like, sensitive.
No, it's not the common version. No. But, like,
so, I mean, I have heard stories.
It's based on reality, though. Like, I'm pretty sure that concept truly exists, despite the fact that it's not the thing that happens every time Fred Flintstone gets hit in the head with a bowling ball.
Yeah, so there was I listened to, I think it was Radiolab a while ago, that sort of addressed this and introduced us to a woman who had, like, language amnesia. And she, like, really couldn't speak anymore. She, like, knew things and knew who she was and knew her family, but, like, couldn't talk because she couldn't remember words. And she had to relearn to talk.
Wrong words instead or something?
That's a different
She would just say, I think she would just say gibberish. She would, like, try to talk and just not be able to. It's been a while since I listened to the episode, so I may not be representing it properly.
The thing that Vasco is talking about, though, is called aphasia, where you think you're making sense and everybody else is wrong, but you're really just mixing up your words.
Yeah. There's a... I want to say it's like an old, like, Outer Limits episode or something that my parents used to really like, and we had to dig really deep to, like, find it. And, like, it was just really interesting because it sort of presented it... Like, Outer Limits is like a Twilight Zone sort of sci-fi anthology show, and it, like, presented that concept of the aphasia just, like, from the other person's point of view, where, like, we, like, hear him talking and he's making perfect sense, but, like, one day he just wakes up and everyone around him is just, like, saying random words instead of what they're supposed to be saying.
Yeah.
I think the episode was, like, literally called, like, Thunder Lizard or something, and just, like, that meant something specific in that world. It was, like, that meant, like, I'm gonna take the car to work or something. It was just, like... Yeah. And so, like... It was just... It ends on this, like, really, like, creepy but, like, also positive note of him just, like, learning the random words that everyone else is saying so that he can understand it, but, like, it's just like, but now everything you ever thought you understood is wrong. It's so traumatizing.
Oh, that's weird.
But it's actually surprisingly, like, fascinating to watch, because it sounds like such a stupid idea, but it's just, like, by the end of it, I was, like, really thinking about it. I was like, wow.
That's cool, I like that.
Yeah.
I never watched that show.
Outer Limits is interesting. It's another one that, like Twilight Zone, has, like, gone through, like, a bunch of iterations, and they are not equal in quality. You know, they're doing, like, a new Twilight Zone, and I think, is it Jordan Peele?
Yeah, that sounds.
I think he's
right.
host, but I think he's also writing it.
I think you might be right. How do you feel about that?
I have mixed feelings only because the thing I most know his, like, more serious writing from is Get Out, which I think is really overrated.
Really?
I think it's a great premise, and I don't think it's executed extremely well.
I haven't seen it.
I saw it, like, way after the fact, but, like, you know, basically anyone I ever knew who saw it was like, oh my god, it's so amazing and clever, and it's like 30 minutes in, I felt like, oh yeah, like, this is going somewhere, and then, like, nothing new happens that keeps me engaged, and I was like, no, I mean, I got that much from the trailer, though. Like, okay.
Yeah. I'll probably see it at some point.
You probably will. You should let me know what you think if you remember to, because I'd be interested to talk about it.
I will, but I won't remember, so it's fine.
Yep, exactly. But will you remember the word yacht at that point?
I don't know, 50-50.
Do you remember it now?
Remember what?
That sounds right.
So I've been listening to this podcast that I just discovered. I'm a big fan of podcasts in general, as viewers may or may not know.
Can you, like, ballpark, like, how many you listen to in a general time frame? I'm just curious.
I don't have to ballpark. I mean, I can tell you how many shows I listen to.
Yeah.
Currently, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17,
Oh my
18,
goodness.
19,
Your intonation is really funny because it sounds like you have finished
20,
the list twice, but you're still counting.
21 active ones, and there's like 3 or 4 that are over.
And they probably don't all update like every week, though, right? Or do they?
No. I mean, some of them are monthly. Some of them, are, like I said, are over. There were the runs that are no longer happening, and some of them happen. There's the Daily by New York Times. That's a weekday podcast. I listen to that often. I mean, I don't listen to all of them.
How many
all the time,
in a day do you? Because obviously you're probably not current on every single one of them all the time. But like, do you listen to like one a day? Do you think like?
Oh yeah, easily. I mean, it depends upon what I'm doing. If I have a commute at all, I'll listen to at least one. If it's depending upon where the commute is to, sometimes that'll be, more like 2 or 3. Because some of them are short, some of them are 10 minutes, some of them are an hour.
Oh, okay. I'm used to a podcast as being like an hour or longer. I don't know if that's just like my experience with it.
Yeah, it just depends. And very few of them are what some people think of as podcasts, which is like a couple people just sitting in a room talking to each other. There's very few of those that I listen to these days. I don't listen to Nerdist anymore or anything, even though that's disappeared since Chris Hardwick's life fell apart. But that's what got me into podcasting.
That's a longer discussion that we could have, because like I don't know all of the details of that, but I know sort of what happened.
It's very interesting. I've decided not to have an opinion on the matter because it's just too.
I respect that.
It's too complicated to like have strong feelings about.
Anyway. I get that, like, because I've been in a situation where like something that meant like so much to me like became problematic, and it's like it's just a little hard to suddenly like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was talking about a podcast I just discovered.
It's a fishing podcast, right?
It's not. It's called The Adventure
really?
Zone. And it's these three brothers. Yeah, you'd really enjoy it, I think. It's these 3 brothers and their dad playing D&D.
Oh, that's why I've heard of it. Okay.
And it's really good. So, like, I was on some subreddit. It was like, oh, what's your favorite podcast? Was, some post that somebody made. And I was... Yeah. Every now and then I go back to it when I'm out of things that I'm interested in listening to. Because a lot of times, I've got like 30 podcasts on my list, but a lot of times I'm like, I don't want to listen to that, I want to listen to that. A lot of them end up having to do with Trump every now and then. Like, even This American Life is, like, talking about Trump, and I'm just like, I can't deal with that right now. So when I want to unplug...
It's hard not to overlap that if you're talking about current events in, like, any capacity, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's tough.
So when I want to unplug, I look for narrative things or something like that. And, I was kind of skeptical. I was like, either this will be really dumb and it'll just be, like, a bunch of people that are awkward and nerdy, like... making jokes that I don't find funny, or this will be really great, and it turned out to be really fucking great. So I highly recommend The Adventure Zone. I am, like, obviously way behind. It started in, like, 2015, and there's a lot of episodes, which I'm super excited about.
For some reason, I thought you were going to say it started, like, 20 years ago. I'm like, that's some impressive use of technology to get that podcast out there.
Yeah, not quite. Anyway, I highly recommend. And, Vasco, I think you would enjoy it.
Sure. I'll have to check that out. Someone in my sister's live stream chat today said, like, podcasts are the future. I'm like, I feel like podcasts are the present.
Podcasts are the now,
I think the future's something else. Like, podcasts were the future, like, 10 years ago. And it actually turned out to be more true than I had thought. Because, like, there was a time, like, when we were in college where, like... people were sort of talking about podcasts as this thing that was blowing up, and then I felt like they lost steam for a while there. Like, other stuff sort of became popular, and then, like, a lot of like, relatively famous people all sort of seemed to stumble into the same idea of, like, well, I have this thing I want to get out there, I'll just do it as a podcast and we'll see what happens. And then, like, enough people did that became a thing that people did, and then more people did it, and now, like, everybody has a podcast.
Well, so there was also Serial.
That's true. That's a good point.
So I think that podcasts were really coming into their own when Serial happened. But I think Serial happened, and then everyone was like, oh,
yeah, I think that was sort of the onboard bandwagoning sort of effect.
What's Serial? I haven't heard of this.
What, really?
Really haven't heard of it.
You haven't heard of Serial? Oh!
It's just like everyone was talking about it for a while. It was like this. It's this sort of like true crime podcast that the first season like followed the case of this like one guy who
he was a high schooler.
Yeah, I mean, if like I'm only kind of familiar with it. If you know more detail, maybe.
Yeah, no, I listened to it. He was a high schooler and living his best life, doing his thing. He happened to be of Muslim descent, which, they argue at one point played a role in it. But basically, his girlfriend shows up dead, and he is arrested for her murder. And Serial basically goes through and, like, they don't really try to solve... I mean, they try to solve it. They don't succeed, spoiler alert.
Yeah.
But... they just basically go through the whole case and they talk about, what happened in the community. They talk about how people saw it. They talk, they interview the cops that were working on it and, retrace a bunch of their detective work. And it's very gripping. It's like very local and intriguing in a way that's non-threatening. The second season that they did was about Bo Bergdahl, I forget what his... he was in the military, but he
that
supposedly... Yeah, I know, right? He supposedly, like, deserted. He got kidnapped. He was a prisoner of war for a couple of years.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
Anyway, so the second season was all about him, and I think where the second season failed, because it definitely didn't have the same popularity, was that it was way less local, way less personal. It was... about something that's, like, more disconnected from us as people living in the U.S., and, I don't know, it was too, like, global issues, too...
Yeah.
It didn't have that thing that you can, like, tap into of, like, oh, I can relate to this and see myself in everyone's position, and also, like, the intrigue is killing me, what happens next?
Am I remembering correctly, or is it some other, like, similar subject matter thing, where, like, the new season was going to be like the entire like Michigan prison system or something?
Oh, I think you're right.
I feel like I've heard that, and it's just like, that sounds broad. And even like without knowing that about the second season, I had a similar thought to that of like, that just doesn't sound like that's gonna like work the same way.
Yeah, I mean, so I did Ira Glass, who is the main guy on This American Life, and a producer on Serial, because it's like sort of This American Life presents Serial, said that it harkened back more to this first season. But I think he would say that no matter what they came out with the next season, because like clearly the second season didn't do well, and this first season did. So I don't know, grain of salt with that information. Anyway, yeah, everybody should listen to The Adventure Zone. Especially you guys. I think you would all enjoy it. I mean, like, not to toot our horn, but it kind of reminded me of us. Like, it's like three dudes and this other dude, like, just sitting around, like, saying weird things and making funny jokes and shit. But,
was anyone a ranger whose, like, pet was a popple that was also a unicycle?
No, unfortunately.
I'm not going to explain any of that. People are going to have questions.
Yeah, that's good. It feels like that. It reminds me of that time a bit, which makes me very happy, because that was when we met.
Someone was telling me about, I think it was also a podcast. It's something done in the style of like a radio program where like someone has like fallen into like some alternate fantasy realm, but they're able to like send this podcast back to our world, and so like they're just like interviewing like fake like magical creatures and shit.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
And it was like recommended to me, but I don't think I ever actually listened to it, but it sounded like an interesting idea.
There's also a podcast called The Bright Sessions, which is kind of like that, where it's a therapist interviewing people with superpowers. Which is kind of fun, because like it's like not in a world where superheroes exist, it's just in a world where people have superpowers but nobody knows about it. Like, it's like our normal world, but hey, people have superpowers. And
yeah, but like some like maybe some neighbor in your apartment building you've never talked to like actually has superpowers.
Right, exactly, and they, they're like dealing with like normal like life issues but also superpowers. Anyway, it was kind of interesting. I listened to one episode.
It reminds me a little bit of Dr. Katz, which was a show I used to like.
Oh man.
But like that was just like stand-up comedians doing like fake, like therapy sessions that were also like
Oh, that sounds like
comedy
fun.
bits. Like I remember it being a lot of fun. It was like a very 90s thing though. I don't know if it aged well, but like I remember enjoying it a lot at the time.
Yeah.
What was the
I
other
am,
show that was out at the same time as Dr. Katz? I really disliked that one.
The one in the same style, like the visual style?
Yeah.
Home movies?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I could not get into home movies.
Yeah, I never really got into home movies either. I don't know what it is exactly.
I mean, the comedy
you know what
style
it
is
actually
very
is?
like.
I think the comedy style is kind of like what you were describing, like being concerned that that D&D podcast was gonna be. It's just like,
Yeah, it's
oh,
like
look at
kind
how
of
funny
mouth
we are,
breathery.
lol.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, I could never really get into it, and I kept wanting to. Like, I would watch it for like a few minutes because like it was on like late at night when I wanted to watch something interesting in like high school
Yeah.
or whatever, and I would be like, oh, that's kind of funny, and then I would try to watch the rest of the episode and be like, this is terrible. Why am I doing this to myself? Speaking of this is terrible, why am I doing this to myself? I'm really sick of fighting 3 dudes randomly spaced around the map. Like, really sick of like trying to figure out how I can actually like kill them all in like without having to use 3 people.
Welcome to Arena.
Yeah, welcome to their room, Tech. That's all I can say.
Yeah, fair point. Oil brownie. Do you want an oil brownie?
I mean, do you want that more or less than white chocolate brownie, whatever the actual name for that is?
What is a white chocolate brownie if it's not a blondie? Now I want to know.
I don't think it has
So I
a
can eat it.
name. I don't think anyone's ever made that before.
Well, good. White chocolate is fucking garbage and not chocolate. Whoever called it that is an
See,
idiot.
I have to say, I don't agree with that. And here's my reasoning, is like, white chocolate is not chocolate. It should not be compared to chocolate. Like, this is the objection that I have. Everyone's just sort of like, white chocolate isn't chocolate, so fuck it. It's like, well, tons of things aren't chocolate. Like, the majority of all things that exist aren't chocolate, okay? Like, I realize it has chocolate in the name, so I get where that instinct comes from. But, like, almost everything isn't chocolate. Can we calm down now? Okay.
I mean,
Because, like, I actually like the taste of white chocolate, but it's very different. I wouldn't say it's better than chocolate, or, like, as good as chocolate, but there are times that I'm like, you know what, I could go for something that has that kind of, like, lighter, sweeter taste to it that isn't chocolate. It's instead white chocolate.
But I mean, I think this is the issue. I think that attaching the name chocolate to it is what was its downfall.
I mean, I think the only reason that was done is because people who do marketing are sometimes, nay, frequently idiots.
Well, so there is like parts of chocolate in white chocolate. It has cocoa powder. I mean, cocoa butter, but no cocoa powder.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense, or cocoa.
No, that
liquor,
makes sense.
Whatever it is, it has the fat, but not the flavor. So like, it makes sense that they added chocolate to the name because it was like came from the same pod and was a byproduct. But just calling it chocolate, it's just upsetting to me. It's just upsetting.
But see, that's exactly the thing, though, right? The issue you have is that they called it that. It's not actually
Right.
with the substance itself, right?
Right.
See, like,
Well,
I
I
can
mean, but-
totally get on board with that. But, like, I enjoy white chocolate as a thing. And, like, so many people are, like, instantly like, ugh! It's like, that's not what we're talking about here. We're having a separate conversation.
Well, so I can think of. Well, I can't. There are plenty of movies that I've heard referred to. That people say like, that would be a great movie if it wasn't called, if it wasn't so and so. If it wasn't a sequel, it would be a great thing by itself. But because it was a sequel to this other movie or a prequel or what have you, like fuck it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I suppose that's basically the same idea. Yeah.
But I think that's a fair argument against that thing. So I get your point,
Well, yeah. No.
but what I'm saying is fuck you.
I actually see what you're saying and agree with it. Mostly because, like, as someone with a lot of, like, narrative structure interests, like, I've said that a lot, even recently about things. However, to be needlessly controversial towards the end of this episode, I would say that something that's not true for, that I also happen to hate, is The Last Jedi, which I think would be an even worse movie if it wasn't a Star Wars movie.
That is fair, actually. That is fair. I don't want this guy. I want this woman.
I think as an example of what Tech is saying, you can use Ready Player One.
Yeah.
You mean the
fair.
film,
So-
the movie?
Yeah, it's a
I-
good movie
I
and
can get
fine,
behind
but
it.
the
Yeah,
fact that
like
it's
that
called
is the
Ready
thing.
Player One.
It's like, yeah, like it will never live up to the book. But like when I saw that movie, I was like, yeah, I feel like that's about as good as I could expect a movie trying to do that to be. Like,
Yeah.
I was reasonably happy with it. Wasn't blown away.
I would have been happier with it if it had come out before the book.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
All right, I'm gonna do one more, and then we're gonna call it an episode.
Okay. Just out of interest, my computer had time to update itself and fully reboot during the course of this episode without any input from me. I don't know why I did that.
Nice.
Nice.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Got-
Now I guess I don't have to deal with that tomorrow when I'm hopefully streaming.
Who loves Windows updates?
Windows is... Another hot take from VascoDaGamer.
Oh yeah. Lots of guns, but no killing apparently.
No killing for
There
you.
we go. There's a killing. Got his hat. Don't you worry, guys. I got his hat. It's all good.
Bye, hat.
Cotillion, have you ever played D&D?
A couple times, yeah. I like it in concept, but I'm not like good at character acting or role playing or anything. So I always wind up just sitting there and then getting frustrated with people because they just do stupid things.
So that's like the whole
like
point of D&D is to do stupid things and get yourself killed. Wait, is that not the point of D&D? I don't think I understand how this game works.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Leveled up.
Yeah.
I really like Shadowrun, and I tried to do Shadowrun with some people once, and we got through one session, and a couple
And
of the people
Cotillion
were
literally murdered everyone else.
a couple of the people were just being assholes, and everybody else was like, "We're done. We're not doing this. This is
Nah,
ridiculous."
that's a bummer. Alright, well, join us next time when we will continue to play this game and not D&D.
Yeah, so to be clear, we're gonna record some more arena grinding and just take care of this, and you guys will probably have the option to watch this as some sort of bonus thing, but also you will shortly see us return to the present of the game. Hooray.
Hooray!
Woot.
Now there's 3 of them. This isn't better.
There are. Is it not? I really thought you would like this. You like monkeys. You like ponies. Maybe you don't like monsters so much, but you know.
You definitely used too many monkeys.
That could be. I may have gone over.
Yeah, and you know what?
Yeah.
It's not enough to know that you ruined a pony to making a gift for me. It's really not. So I'm gonna go.
I really feel like you're not appreciating the thought that counts, you know? Because it is, in fact, the thought that counts.
Does it count? I don't know if it does.
It does when you use so many monkeys and at least one pony.
You know, I'm gonna have to disagree with you there. I think that the pony monkey combo negates any thought that was put into the gift at all, really.
Are you hearing this, Cotillion? Do you believe this?
I don't know what we're talking about.